I don't know why I just thought it was going to be a movie, but this really was an epic film about an epic group of women.
Yeah.
So tell me, how did this story come to fruition from it being a bear?
It's interesting. I was not a part of the early gestation of it. That was Viola, Viola Davis, and Kathy Schulman.
Mm-hmm.
We're developing the story for 6 years. And I remember about 5 years ago, it got announced in the trains that Viola was going to do something about female warriors. And I literally said in my head, like, why aren't they coming to me for that? But then they did, but I was on a project and I couldn't write it. I said, come back to me when you guys have a script. And a couple years later, Black Panther came out, changed the game, changed culture, changed Hollywood, and suddenly a studio saw value or a chance to make a film like this. And they came to me, they sent me the script, and within literally, well, first, Viola Davis was attached, so that's the first thing. The second thing was, I knew I had to make this film. I saw myself in these women, but also I wanted to see these women. I wanted the world to see these women and hear the story. Not just the fact that they're these incredible warriors, but also their humanity. Show this side of Africa that we don't get to see that we do come from warriors and kings, and be able to feel that tangibly.
Now, walk us through briefly the rest of the development. You have the script. Let's go into casting. How did you find all these amazing, beautiful sisters?
Casting was so exciting. When I read the script, again, the Viola was attached. But as soon as I read it, two names came to mind immediately. I wanted Lashana Lynch to play Agojie. I'd seen Lashana, she gave a speech at the Essence Black Women in Hollywood. I didn't know her. Everything she said is everything I want to do as an artist. And she had just come out in the trailers for 007, and she looked badass. And I was like, I want her. And then John Boyega, I knew I wanted as Gezo. I had seen this video that went viral where he, during the protest, was imploring Black men to protect Black women. And he was afraid that video was going to harm his career, where it made me want to work with him. And he's everything you would hope he would be. But the character Nawi, was like, how could I see action? Because I knew I needed everybody to do their own fighting and stunts. And who could go toe to toe with Viola Davis? And Underground hadn't come out yet. It was just Thuso. It was back in the Zoom era of auditions, and Thuso's face popped up on my screen, and it was like an immediate thing that I cared about her. And then she opened her mouth, and her chops are insane. I truly believe, it's weird, I know you said later, I truly believe that she is a generational talent. She is that good.
So for both of you, I don't know if my mic is on, it's messed up, but for both of you, what did you learn about yourselves in this project, starting with you?
Well, hello. Hello. So for me, it's something that came up during our roundtable talk with Essence. I think I wasn't aware of the fact that I lived my life apologizing for my existence. And through this movie, I came to know that, one, I matter, my voice matters, and that happened very early on in the audition process, because I had to audition with Gina, and then the second time was like a creative conversation with Viola about the script. And from the time she sat down to listen to me, my voice mattered. And that was how the rest of, pre-production and production went, where we see you, we hear you, and you're valuable to us. Yeah.
For me, it was like my whole life being an athlete and then being a female director in this industry. It's just a thing. You do not show vulnerability. Vulnerability is weakness. And through this film, shockingly, like vulnerability was a strength, and Viola certainly taught me that. And then what we wanted to impart in this film, again, that their vulnerability, along with them being such badasses, they were vulnerable, and that was a strength as well. And not like I'm gonna start crying on set, but I'm not gonna shield that from myself anymore.
Talk about the shooting experience, because, I mean, I've never seen Viola Davis so beautiful as she was captured in this film. What was, I mean, I know you shot it in South Africa in the middle of COVID.
Yes.
What was that like? How long was the shoot, and how did you guys make it through given all of the health restrictions and everything?
Yeah, it was certainly the toughest shoot of my career, but also the most beautiful. We had 63 days to shoot it. We needed more, but that's what we got. We make it work, but it was tough. COVID, the first 3 weeks were amazing. The first 3 weeks we shot in KZN, wasn't in the towel. Woo! Thuso was from, so that was amazing. And it was like COVID didn't exist. We were free and clear, and then we got back to Cape Town where we built the palace. What you see in there, we built the whole thing, which was amazing. But we got back there, and the thing about South Africa, first of all, unlike America, like they were so intentional about being safe. Everyone wore masks. Anytime you walk into any building, they are spraying you down with sanitizer. And I felt safer there than I did in America. Even though the narrative was that it was, you know,
Well, it's always been that narrative.
Yeah. So then when Omicron hit, and of course everyone's blaming South Africa as opposed to South Africa was just smart enough to identify it. That was the thing. But yeah, 3 weeks into the shoot, it hit our set and our crew and our cast.
Wow.
I did not have COVID.
For you, when they just said, talking about South Africa and being your home, what was that like for you shooting at home?
It was absolutely amazing. Because obviously when I auditioned, I had no clue that, shooting anywhere in Africa was an option. It was a hope that, let's take it to Africa, but to take it to South Africa was the biggest shock, like most welcome shock of my life. And then learning that the first 2 weeks would be in KZN was absolutely amazing. We shot it in Zululand, which basically means the land of the Zulus. I'm Zulu. It's close to where I grew up, so seeing the landscapes, and it's still like very much untouched land. It's a whole lot of green, so clear skies, beautiful skies. You saw that, like they had elephants slipping on their jacuzzis, giraffes, and as you're driving to set, you're seeing just wildlife, buffaloes, giraffes, rhinos. It was absolutely. I don't know. I couldn't have written this part of my life better. Yeah, it was an honor, an absolute honor being able to speak my mother tongue as well.
Now talk about the training, because I mean, my God, those fight scenes were amazing.
That went viral, by the way, on social media with you all training. Yeah. Not that I'm trying to get in nobody's gym, but I would love to know how that went.
Okay, so my training process started a little bit earlier than everyone else because they had other projects that they were a part of. I put myself in Muay Thai as soon as I got the role, and then Gina volunteered to spend time with me in those sessions because for me personally, didn't want to start from like absolute scratch when we went into pre-production. So we had our bonding moments because relationship with actors is very important to Gina as well. It was great. I thought she was the coolest because sometimes she dropped me off at home. And I was out there taking the bus in LA during COVID, but it's okay. It's all right. And then in pre-production training, I had like a running coach, Jerome Davis. I was like sprinting uphill, and I hate short distance running, like with everything in me. It was hard. That was hard. But then with Nawi again, unlike Viola, Lashana, who had to be, they had to bulk up. Their training focused on bulking up. Gina said to me that no one would believe that I could, like an Oyo soldier, like a big 6 foot man. So it was up to her and Gabby to like develop my speed, agility, and flexibility. So now we have to take the enemy down as quickly and as efficiently as possible. And now for me was very DIY. She's very inventive, from the belt that she wears to the bracelet, the makeshift bracelet that she made for herself. And we also see that come through with the rope dart that she used in the big fight scene. It all came together nicely, and so we also had strength training with Gabby, and then we had martial arts. So we had weapons training, the machete, the spear, different, combat training. And I was the one who, if they gave us 2 hours or 3 hours, I'd ask for an extra hour, because it was very, very important for me to have my stunts match my performance. Yeah.
At the point that I saw the gold bracelets on Viola's wrist, I'm like, this really is Wonder Woman's origin story. and the lasso, I'm like, what type of research? Because, when you first hear about this group of women, it sounds like you're reading an encyclopedia, but you hear about these women and you think it's make-believe. Mm-hmm. So what was that research like in finding out and learning about these women's stories?
Yeah, research.
Their existence.
Yeah, research is everything. And we were telling a true story about true women. It's not a documentary, but the world that they are in, the time, historical time that we were in, everything was real. So the biggest thing with the research for this film was that so much of the history of these women and of the kingdom is written from a colonizer's point of view. And you really have to be cognizant of who is telling your history. And people writing it had an absolute benefit of dehumanizing us, making us seem like savages. So it was combing through that. Even most of the pictures, when you go online and look at them, and you'll see these posed pictures, that's not really them. That was created by the French and the English for the World's Fair, put us on display. So it was combing and just throwing that out and getting to the heart of who was telling our story, finding those who are telling the story the right way and our history the right way. And at that point then, it was just connecting the dots, which was really exciting in terms of what they wore, how they wore it. You mentioned the bracelets. The king, when you were a great warrior, he rewarded you with gold. So you see Viola has the most, and then Lashana, definitely all the rings, and she's the second best warrior, so she's got a lot of gold. So things like that, the cowrie shells, all of it was just into the research, getting it right, being authentic to the time and place.
So you talk about the research, you also had Terrence Blanchard do the music.
Yes.
Can you talk about the selection of music, because the music did play a big role in this too?
Yeah, absolutely. This is actually the first film I've ever done where I didn't rely on soundtrack, because I love that part of it. I knew because this was 1800s, I didn't want to, I love Beyonce. She was working this. So it was, I knew it was going to be score, but there were also some important songs that needed to be created for this, because another part of this culture, which we learned in the research, is they used to create these elaborate dance sequences to get ready for battle, to honor the king, to honor each other. And so I knew I wanted a combination. Terrence, I knew right away, that was the first person, Terrence Blanchard. He did Love Basketball. His work is extraordinary. And then Lebo M is a great South African composer that's known for Lion King. I wanted him to create the songs, and he created such great songs. So it was a great collaboration with those two of them. But we wanted to do something different with the score, given what this was. And so we decided early on, we wanted it orchestral, but cultural, and use African instruments weave throughout it to make that the new classic type of sound, and then add voice and choir, and that's what we got.
And so now we are, the award season chatter already, has this at the top of their list. So, how does it feel to know that that you're a part of a film, both of you, that, that's gonna, that we're gonna be talking about for the next 6 months, and that very likely it's gonna come home with a slew of awards. I'm already getting texts from African members saying, oh, we just got them. But all of the other award shows as well leading up to the big one. How does that feel?
I'm gonna steal from Viola, because she said, someone asked her the question, and because the typical answer is, yeah, we're not gonna talk about that. But the amount of fight it took to get this made, the amount of work these women did, the extraordinary performances, like it feels right. I'm excited for real for Thuso.
Are you ready for the marathon? Called award season?
No. No, for me, I'm just really happy for Viola and Julius, because, you know, once I was cast for this and training early with Viola, I got like a front row seat to the fight. They were still fighting, even, you know, going into production, they were still fighting, even after wrapping, they were still fighting. And this is such an important project that they've been fighting for so long. And so that is where my heart is. You know, my heart belongs to them. And so if it happens that way, I'll be happy for them more than anything.
In order for all this to happen, though, what's the call to action? What do we need to do in this audience? What do we want to do?
We need people to see the movie.
Absolutely. The film opens this Friday, and buying out theaters, group seats, get the sorority, the fraternity, the church, the book club, whatever configuration, we need butts and seats so that this film can, it costs a lot of money, you saw up on screen. So we need to bring that back into the account so that more pictures like this can be made. But does it surprise you? I mean, given this box office success of Black Panther and the presence of the female warriors in that, given I've watched Agojie 20 times. I swear, the bonanza success of that you still have to fight. I mean, where is that? What is that? And why do you keep going? And I mean, when someone's giving you that type of resistance, what keeps you from saying, you know what, I'm good?
Because if we don't fight, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Okay.
The fight is that this hasn't been done before. I mean, Black Panther is extraordinary, and it's Marvel. This is a film original story, no IP, and it's fronted by Black women. Black women are the stars of this. It's exhausting.
I know it is. And so, I mean, you're a young actress. You're making waves for yourself. When you see circumstances like what you had to experience with this film, what does it make you think about the possibilities for yourself moving forward as an actress?
I won't lie, at some point it was really discouraging to see it happen to Viola the way it did. But her fight has given me reason to fight, because she's fighting for me and I have to fight for someone else.
So it's been inspiration.
So we want to open it up for some questions. Open it up for a few questions. Only can take 1, 2, 3, 4 questions. Maybe. All right, we're gonna start with Miss Wendy Creedle right here in the front. If you want to stand up, please,
okay,
so everybody can see the fabulous Wendy.
Oh, thank you.
If I don't know your name, I apologize. I just happen to know her.
Yes, you are, I'm just like, you're my
Oh,
favorite
she,
director.
well, now
But you were opposite Viola, and you held your own.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You were there with her statements. I mean, it was the most beautiful movie ever. I mean, it's gorgeous, which is all you. And only a Black woman like you could make Black women look so beautiful. But you held your own. What was that like, working with Viola the way you did, neck and neck like that?
It was great. I've always looked up to Viola, and she's one actress who, when I watched her interviews, I was encouraged because our process is exactly the same. So it was like, okay, you're not crazy. We're doing stuff the way you do it. And so being in conversation with her, Viola would, like, before we started shooting, she'd read the script and ask me questions. It was very much a give and take. It was very much, I didn't have to prove myself to her. It's just being true to the character 100% and running and playing with her. Like, we had moments on set that weren't necessarily scripted, and we would just go, and it would, it found itself, the character.
And just to add to that, the beauty, just to, as I said, Thuso insane. The beauty of Viola is she's great. She is a great actress, but she doesn't step on set like that. Like, I'm here and you're here. She wants everybody like this, and that creates such an incredible environment, because you can't be intimidated by your co-star, or it's not going to work, and you can't intimidate your co-star. And she is so giving and inspiring. It's just a great environment.
My man right here kept his hand up the whole time.
Yeah, hi, my name is Todd from the Bronx. Yeah, big up the X. But the film was beautiful. I love seeing women of color, black women, so strong. I come from that. I married into that. So it just made me feel good inside. Some of the film statement and a question. Some of the film remind me of my training in the military, from regular Army to airborne to SF. But what I want to say is this: I met Viola Davis before too, and she was no nonsense. She came through my job. A lot of entertainers come through. She comes through like she's something. There's something about her. I mean, I'm in love with her since Antoine Fisher, Law and Order, all that. But I wanted to ask you. I hate, to my chagrin, I hate to place so much weight on the crown. Heavy lives the head that wears the crown, right? But the Tyler Perrys of the world. I know there's only one Tyler Perry. Did you talk to his studio? Did you see about maybe seeing if he would go ahead and make this happen for you so that you wouldn't have to hit so many brick walls? Or is he so slam packed full that you just said, forget it, I'm gonna keep what happened?
I mean, Tyler he has a production company, and we need a studio, and because the studio has this level of money and they have the distribution. That's the big thing, the theaters. So yeah, Julius and Viola, they have a production company like he does. So it was their company going to the different studios looking for distribution.
Well, it's beautiful. What you did is beautiful. You're on the list with my Spike Lees and Will
But one other thing I think we'll hear, my husband's from the Bronx, so.
I got one question. I gotta get you though, because she was the one with the yes, the one pointing to yourself.
Thank y'all so much. I think the political themes were so powerful to me. Of course, I think there will be a lot of comparisons to Black Panther, but what was so special was the coming to terms with we can't be participants in our own oppression. And I'm just curious if part of the fight was focusing on not diluting that, because the action scenes are so powerful, but man, that I'm just like, I want everybody to hear that piece, because it felt like such a timely indictment on feeling like being individually wealthy is gonna be enough to save us, and we have to be collectivists. And I just thought it was so powerful. I'm just curious what it's like to get that message to this kind of stage. Woo!
It was going in, literally, the first thing I said, we're going to tell the truth. You can't tell this type of story and not tell the truth. And there were times throughout the process where people would have preferred it to be easier and just be one thing. But we couldn't do that. It was important to tell the truth. It was important. That speech that Gezo says at the end, that was like a deep dive for me into just some of our great scholars, listening to them, and then of course the truth of where Gezo was in that moment in time, and being able to infuse that. And he's speaking obviously to the truth, but he's speaking to us, and that's the beauty of being a director. And I get to speak to us and speak to the world through him. So yeah, it was a fight, but that was not something that we were gonna lose. Yeah.
Well, you certainly did speak to us, and you made us feel good about us, and wanting to see more and more stories about this. So Thank you, Gina.
Hold on, I promised her.
Okay.
One last question.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Lise. I'm from the Kingdom of the Zulu, like you too, sir.
Bring it back home, baby. Yeah, Thuso.
Congratulations, Thuso. You were magnificent, as expected. You've spoken extensively about how you had to immerse yourself in your role for Underground Railroad, and how you'd have to pull yourself out of that persona to go back to your life. How was this different for you, and how did it feel to play such a powerful African woman as an African woman yourself?
So it was a lot of fun playing Naui. It obviously wasn't as heavy as the Underground character, but I had to step myself up to, meet Naui where she is, because she has confidence and swagger and, just the sureness, I don't know if that's a correct word, about her that I don't have. There were times where Gina would be like, more. I had to like come out of my shell. And yeah, there's a lot that I learned from Naui, who she is, how she approaches the world, and how she takes up her own space in the world that I can't afford to let go of now that we're done shooting. Wow. Yeah.
Now you can close us out, Mr. Roberts.
Okay. Well, I am confident that this film is going to be the talk of the town this weekend, and certainly for congratulations, you deserve this. Gina is as a rare example. She's from both her and her husband are directors, are creatives, and so you don't really see that. A lot of African American director couples, who are both firing. Her husband has a project called Swagger that's on Apple, and now Gina with this project. So that's a perfect example of Black excellence. We just can't get enough of you, and we are certainly looking forward to following the career and supporting it all the way. And again, both of you, this was a masterpiece. I was lamenting. I was sounding like I was lamenting earlier when I said to several people, "Oh, it's award season. I'm gonna have to watch some of these films 3 or 4 times." I'll watch this more than I've watched
Titanic.
I can watch this movie every single day. It's really, really that good. So, audience, please, grab the social media handles. Tell your friends about it. I mean, really, the way this game works is that money has to come back in the box office. It's that simple. It's business. So please have your friends come out and support it. And thank you so much for coming out tonight.